most of it is shaded, okay? But the very last thing where it says number 2 is unshaded. You with me?
Yes.
Everybody good? All right, look up here, dude. Look at Coach. Coach wants to show you something. Okay? All right, the shaded area, this is what the shaded area is. It's the author talking to you while you're preparing. You're away from your Timothy. You're at home studying, getting ready for your Timothy. And it's the author talking to you about what you need to do to be getting ready, making suggestions. So here's the picture. Dr. Billy Hanks, you know what he looks like now? Dr. Billy Hanks?
Yeah.
Okay. Balding guy from West Texas. Says y'all alive. Okay. Okay. All right. Picture him this tall. He's this tall. And you're studying, and he's standing on your shoulder. And he's whispering in your ear. Okay, here's what you need to do. Okay, that'd be pretty cool, huh? And is they're coaching you? That's what it is. It's the author instructing you what to do to get ready. So when you see the shaded area, that's for your preparation away from your Timothy. Okay? That's all it is. That make sense?
Yes.
While you're studying, shaded area of the box. All right. Now, let's jump down and look at something else still that's shaded. It says page 197, number 1. See that? See where that arrow is? Find that in yours. All right, now turn to that page 197. Turn to page 197. And you're going to find a really neat little part of the study that will help you a lot. Okay? It's Appendix A. And it says illustrations and amplifications for all sessions. All right. What this is every time you get to one of these, you'll go back there, and again, you're by yourself. And what it's doing, that first one, because he just gave instructions that you're going to get acquainted with your Timothy. That first session, you're going to get to know them. You're going to ask them questions, and you're going to listen to them. All right? What this amplification does, it helps you do a good job of that. See, most of us are not really good at that, getting acquainted thing, because that means we got to listen. And we're not real good listeners, humans. Am I correct? A lot of us think listening is waiting on the other person to shut up so I can talk. That's what listening is. See? Or listening is while you're talking, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. So I can say, aha, I got you. Therefore, I wasn't listening to you. I was thinking. That's not listening. See? Woo-wee. And so I teach my little couples, when I'm doing premarital counseling, we practice on listening. You listen with your eyes, your ears, and your heart. It's amazing when a person really listens to someone, how much respect that shows. Doesn't it? When you're talking to them, and they're not even looking at you, and they're doing other stuff, you almost feel foolish. Pretty soon you quit talking. Well, that's no way for a relationship for Paul and Timothy to go. So this is going to coach you a little bit. It's going to say, make sure he knows or she knows you're sincerely interested in them. Okay? If you find yourself doing all the talking, something's wrong. It's just telling you that. It's saying what? Close your trap and listen. Wow, we need that. That's why that's there. So that we'll get off to a good start. Here's an easy way to remember it. Taking the word interest. Focus on being interested instead of being interesting. See, sometimes we think we need to I need to tell them all about me so they'll know why that I'm the guru and they're supposed to learn from me. Well, no, that's not it at all. I'm supposed to serve them and find out what their needs are. So if you focus on being interested in them instead of being interesting, you will be more effective as a listener. That simple little thing. Another thing is, most of you have heard or have used the journalism questions: who, what, where, why, when, and how. If you learn to ask those questions. Well, Karen, how long have you been growing tomatoes? Years. What kind of tomatoes do you grow? Why do you grow them? Where do you plant them? Where do you even get them to begin with? Who taught you how to grow tomatoes? Do you know Sabrina? She's really good at it. Yeah. The whole point is when you ask questions, who, what, where, why. You like to fish? What kind of fish? What's your favorite kind of fishing? Do you have a boat? I fish on a dock. Where is the dock? What kind of bait do you use? What do you do with the fish? You throw them back? Oh yeah, I just like to catch them. I don't like to eat them. Really? Man, that's amazing. What a sport you are, But the point I'm making, if you ask questions, people love talking about themselves. And if they have children, hey, tell me about your children. We'll just sit there and listen. They'll tell you about their children. And if they have grandchildren, wow, you really hit a home run. Tell me about your grandchildren. Got any pictures? Yeah. Okay. So the point being, this is coaching us. See what it's doing? It's helping us be more effective because some of us may not know how to do this. We're not really good at one-on-one. That's why we've never done it. So this is coaching us. So the amplification or illustration is either going to give you some coaching or they're going to give you an illustration to use in that spot. And it'll show you right where they want to use it. And they're good illustrations. But here's something I always want to tell you. If you have a better one, use yours. If you have an illustration that is fresh and God has given in your life, and you look at that illustration and say, well, that's a good one, but I think God would use mine better. Then use yours. This isn't legalistic. It's just trying to help you. It's trying to provide you with ammunition to be more effective. So when it tells you to go back to 197 or 198 or 199, and they'll say number 7, you're going to use that. But you want to read that away from Moses so that when I get there, I can just talk to him about it. I'm not reading it to him. And then when I read that illustration, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to write it down in the Bible study in the margin. So after the first time that I use it, I never have to go back there again. Because I remember, I got a note to myself what that's about. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're not always going back and forth, but the first time you are, while you're getting familiar with it. Okay, so all this is built in, why? To help you be more effective. Okay, now look at at the arrow here. Number 2. That's the first time in that box where there is no shaded area. It's white. This is what that means. Okay, y'all with me? This is what you're going to say now. You've already done the gray part. You got acquainted. They know you know them better. And then you say, well, it's time for us to look at welcome to a call to joy. All right, let's read it. You can read it to them. It says, all that means is a script of what you're going to do next, what you're going to say next. You can put it in your own words. Okay, let's take a look at our Bible study now. Okay, that's fine. You're leaving the get acquainted part and moving into the Bible study. So the unshaded is what you use with your Timothy after you've done what the shaded area told you to do. All right, does that make sense? Okay. Now, do you see why we wanted you to practice a little bit so you get used to them? And Moses, we're going back and forth trying to get used to this. After we've done that, it goes. It flows and it goes very well. Okay, look at the arrows here. You see those lines that there's a shaded area and an unshaded area in that other box? Let me tell you what that's for. Anything you want it to be. That's just notes for you. Anytime you have lines like that in a box, that just means that's a place for you to write down some notes. If you think of something while you're preparing that reminds you of a verse that means a lot to you that's not in there, just write that verse in there. If you think of an illustration, that's a good place to write it in. That illustration that you want to use because you think that would be more effective. That's okay, write it in. So that whenever you see those kind of lines, that's just for you to use any way you want to. Okay. Now look at page 3 continued and then page 3. 3 continued and then page 3. Alright, you see where the arrow is pointing at the bottom? And you're going to notice something. On the Timothy guide, their blanks are empty. On the Discipler guide, your blanks have answers in them, right? Now, that does not mean you have all the answers, even though you do. Okay, you don't have all the answers, figuratively speaking. All right, here's the way you use that. Notice that number 2, look at the Discipler guide, number 3 continued. On number 2 it says, yet to all who receive him, to those who believe in his name, He gave the right to become children of God. And then in that box, unshaded, means you're going to ask them that question. See? Because it says, what are the 2 steps described in this verse that explain how to become a child of God? And they look up there and they go, well, I guess you receive Him and believe in Him. And you say, right, that's very good. So write in your blank, believe and receive, or receive and believe, okay? Now, so what you're doing is asking them a question, but they may look at it and go, I'm not real sure. You know, they don't know if this is a trick question or not. They've never done this before. So what if they say, I'm not real sure? Well, let me show you. And you tell them. You say, see right here it says receive and believe. Write, receive and believe in those blanks. And they write it. Okay, you see how we got that? And you explain to them how you got that answer. Oh, yeah, the answer was right there. But they made it harder than it was. Okay? Most of them are that simple. It's very obvious what the answer is. But if they don't, this is another teaching point, guys. If they don't get it, remember they're babies. Don't say things like, you know, okay, so what are the answers for these 2 blanks? And they say something that's wrong. You don't go, bang. You don't go, I tell you what, I'm going to give you 2 out of 3 chances. If they don't know, you say, let me show you. And you give it to them. You know, if you're feeding a hungry baby, this would be very mean. You know, right about the time it gets right there, you pull the milk away. Would that be mean? We don't do that. Don't ever do that to your babies, your grandbabies, or nobody. That's mean. Okay? Well, that would be the same thing with a baby Christian. Don't tease them. Don't give them a bad time. If they don't know, tell them. Now, gradually, they're going to know more, and you're going to get, but at the beginning, give them the answer. Most of the time, they get it right. Right? All right. Now, turn to page 38. Page 38, you're in your big book still. Okay? And it's called Timothy's Inspirational Reading. Timothy's Inspirational Reading. You've got a picture of Jesus with his hand out. It's got chapters 1 through 5. With everybody at this place right here? Just need to look at it in the one book. Yeah. Yes, sir. All right. Inspirational reading. That's exactly what it is. Here are the titles for the reading. You don't have to turn the pages with me to see what's in there. This is for them. Like I said, you're going to do Bible study with them, but they're going to have some things to do. One of the things they're going to do is read some inspirational writings. Okay? They will encourage you. You're going to ask them to highlight stuff and underline stuff and write questions if they have them, that kind of thing. But here are the titles: The Love of God, Learning to Walk, The Perfect Example, The Secret of Godliness, Principles for Living in Victory. All right? And then they're just going to, it'll give them an assignment, tell them what to read, and they'll mark it up. And at the end of the week, you'll discuss that with them. So that gives them something to do. But there's something else they're going to do also. This is my favorite part. Page 77. Page 77. This is quiet time readings. Okay? They're going to start establishing in their life a quiet time. But it's all going to be pretty much done for them. What we're trying to establish is the habit, the consistency. God created us, right? He made us creatures of habit. They say it takes 21 to 30 days to make or break what? A habit. All right? You're going to see that there are 30 quiet time readings. We're going to challenge Brother John. What time do you go to bed at night? Yeah, just give me. What time do you go to bed at night? 2 a.m. 2 a.m. My God. That's the time I get up. Okay, 2 a.m. Wow. Okay. My Timothy tells me he goes to bed at 2 a.m. Right? Now, most of those I would say quit playing video games. You know, but yeah, that won't be true. That won't tell you the truth. All right. What time do you get up? 6. 6. Okay, so 4 hours. He's wired that way. Okay. Now, so I say to him, because I know he's never had a quiet time, because he's a new Christian. He doesn't know what a quiet time is. And I said, now, you have the one in your heart, you said that it's causing you joy, and you know that was a wonderful experience, best thing ever happened to you. He wants to now meet with you every day. Okay, John? He said, okay. And I said, so what I want you to do is to start meeting with him, make an appointment with him every day. You made an appointment with me, and you came to see me, and I'm just a rack of bones held together with connective tissue, and you came to see me. Well, the King of Kings wants to spend some time with you. So I want you to make an appointment with him. And so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you get up at 6, I'm going to ask you to get up at 5:45. That means you may have to go to bed at 1:45. Okay? You may have to go to bed at 1:45 or 1:30 in order to do that. But you need to make a little adjustment because you need to start having an appointment with the King. As a matter of fact, I want you to, do you have a calendar? He pulls out his calendar. I said, this next week, I want you to write down at 5:45 in your appointment calendar, King. Just like you write down doctor's appointment. Okay? You don't miss a doctor's appointment. And we don't want to miss our appointment with the King. And we started helping them understand the importance of this. And so I talked to him in a real practical way. And so, and when you do that, he said, well, what am I going to do during those 15 minutes? Okay, then we're going to take you to this. Turn to page 78 and 79, okay? Look at 79, 78 and 79. When you get up and you throw the water in your face, you get away, you're going to read this quiet time 1. And on that first one, I'm going to do it with you. We're going to read it together that day. So we practice so you can see. Now notice it asks a good question. How can I know for certain that you are a Christian and that you have eternal life? You know, Thursday, this past Thursday, day before yesterday, at 6:30 in the morning, Ray from Connecticut asked me that question. I don't know for sure. See, because he hadn't got to this yet. We just got started, see. So I knew that this week he's going to get it. But we got to spend time on the assurance verses. Okay? And so how do you know for certain you are a Christian and that you have eternal life? And then it answers it with a scripture. See that? Then it gives 3 paragraphs of commentary, explanation. And then it gives a scriptural insight, which is simply a summary of what has just been said. And then it gives a prayer that somebody might pray about what they just read. And it's all done. All they have to do is just read it. Maybe underline, make some notes, ask questions. Every day, that first week, they're going to read a quiet time. They're done all the same. Look at the next one. It says, how is your salvation made possible? It does the exact same thing, all the way through. All right? Quiet time 7 ends up the same way. But look at quiet time 8. Look on page 85. Look on page 85. It's exactly the same except what? The scriptural insight and the prayer are blank. So what did we do? We did it all totally for them the first week. Now this week they're going to read, but they're going to write their own insight. They're going to put their own summary of what they just read. And then they're going to write out a prayer in their own words. Okay? A prayer in their own words. So what are they learning to do? They're learning to journal. Okay? Just a little at a time. It's all done for them except they do that. They do that all week long. But look what happens on day 16. What's added? You got your scriptural insight, your prayer, and now an application. So not only are they going to write a summary, and then are they going to write a prayer, oh, they're going to write the relevance of the word. This is what I can do with this now. This is what I will do with what I just learned. I wish I'd have known this last week. That may be what they wrote when I got angry and hit somebody. I'm glad I heard this because next week I can use this or today. And so they're going to start making an application to understand the relevancy of God's Word on their own. I wish we would put an arrow at the top of the page because notice there's something else different. Quiet time 16, what's under there? It says read Psalm 27. Before we gave them all the verses, didn't we? What are we asking them to do now? Look it up themselves. Now they pull their Bible out and they're going to actually use their Bible to look up the verses. But we didn't start off that way. We started off, we gave them everything. Then we asked them to do a little bit. Then we asked them to do a little bit more. How do you treat a baby or a toddler? A little bit. You feed them, you do everything. All of a sudden they grab the spoon out of your hand and they stick it in their eye or their ear. But they're trying. They want to do something. And you let them a little at a time, so pretty soon they hit their mouth. And that's what's happening here. You start off doing everything for them, and then gradually you let them do a little more. It's very incremental, and it's very carefully thought through and prayed through. That's the beauty of this to me. It allows them to grow a little at a time. Okay, then look on page 101. When you're starting on the last week of it. What do you see there? Nothing. It's blank. Uh-oh. Does that mean we don't want them journaling anymore? We don't want them making applications anymore? We don't want them reading the Bible anymore? No. It means we're fixing to move to a new book. And that is the spiritual journal. So now once you get this in your hand, spiritual journal. Okay? And you're going to find that this spiritual journal will be a book you can use for the rest of your life, whether you're doing a College Joy and College Rose or not. Alright? For years, before I ever used this material, I used this in my church. For years, helping people learn how to have a Bible. Okay? To teach them how to use the journal. So this journal now is going to be used in conjunction with the College Joy. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. It did the quiet time. It went through, and then it left it blank, which means you're not going to write in the Call to Joy, you're going to write in this book, and you're going to turn to page 20 in this book. And what you're going to see, like here's one of my pages right here. It's just filled up. See? All those, every day, it's filled up. Okay? So what's going to happen is you're going to start, instead of writing at the bottom of the page, you're going to start writing in this journal. You're moving them into a new tool, is what you're doing. And they're going to keep journaling. Alright? And then they'll keep doing it even when they don't have a Bible study book in front of them. Alright, so they write their scriptural insight, they write their prayer, they write their application. So they don't do anything different, they're just doing it in a different book. Okay, you with me? Now, look what happened next. Where'd the arrow go? To where? What's it say? Memory verse for the week.